So I'm going to go through and just show people the process of tying down your main drawings. And I'm just going to explain that to them where, if we scroll through here, some are much rougher than others and just how you go about tying it down. And I'm just going to do this section right here, right in there, so they understand the process. Because I have a lot of people ask me, that after you do your rough pass, how do you go about it? And it's pretty simple once you understand it,
You mean to clean the animation?
Not to clean it up, no, to make it tied down enough to where when it gets sent to the cleanup department, they put down that final line.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like this one isn't so bad, but I would still put more drawing into that one. And then
Oh,
you
I
see,
understand.
yeah, one like that, I would definitely, just. And that one, here's a good example of
Mhm.
one that needs to be tied down more. And sometimes, it matters what kind of rush deadline you're in. You hand it off like that, but that gives it a lot more work to the cleanup artists. And in my way of thinking, it's not fair. You got to give them a little bit more information than something like this.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you scroll? Can you move them? Like moving through the timeline just to see them. Okay, Auntie.
Yeah. What we got here is we got our start pose up
Mm-hmm.
into the antics. So the first thing I would do is tie this one down, not that one, but this one, the antic, I would tie down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd come through to about that, this breakdown actually. I would make that, I would tie that one down, and then that last drawing right there.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's just a model, and you just don't want to. I've seen it done before where they've handed off like this, but if you want your scene to come out better, you don't want to leave it up to the assistant because they're not exactly sure of,
Mm-hmm.
of what you were thinking.
Okay.
Okay. And then outside of that, I'm having coffee.
Coffee. Yeah. Okay, we can start with.
Okay. Uh, Hello, everybody. It's one-on-one animation with Wayne and Judy, and this is going to be where we are going to be discussing the tie down process. We last week or a couple weeks ago we put in where people got to vote on what they'd want to me doing demonstration on, and the tie down won the voting contest. So
Yay! Woo!
so the process is I'm gonna show everybody the let me come down here. I'm gonna show just this section right here. Just that section.
Presents one say hello.
Hello.
Andrew, hello Andrew.
Hello, Andrew. Thank you for
Hello Yan Chavez.
Jan.
Yan Chavez.
Hello, Jan. Thank you for joining us, you guys. So we're gonna go in here and I'm gonna just show you how to tie down these drawings just in this section. You'll notice that the scene, it's longer than that, but I haven't put in those breakdowns. We're just picking up where we left off last time. So we're going to just do that section. I'll show it to you one more time. Just this section right there. Right in there. So how do you tie it down? Big question. I get that all the time. And let's take our first drawing. Now what I've done in TV Paint here, I got on the timeline, I got my animation, and that's down here. Then I put in a new layer that duplicated the structure, and all that really means it's a new piece of paper. If you're working on the light table, it would be the same process. You just put a new piece of paper over the drawing that you're going to be tying down. So what I'll do, let me make that a little bit, there we got more room. And I'll zoom in a little bit better so everyone can see it. And I'll fade this. So now it looks like just the way it would look if you're working on an animation disc. And I will show in the future, we're going to do some live streams of working physically with the paper and, you know, that process of flipping and rolling your drawings. But for now, we'll just go here. And what I'm going to do is this is where I come in. Let me check my pencil. Ooh, don't.
Wait, Yan Shao says, have a question here. Yan Shao, he asking you, what program are you used to make your animation?
What process?
What programs do you use?
Oh, I use TV Paint and Rough Animator. I use Rough Animator on my iPad because TV Paint doesn't have an application for the iPad, and I use TV Paint on my Cintiq right here. I also sometimes will use Rough Animator when I'm on my Cintiq. I really like both of them. Rough Animator, it only costs $5, and I think it's a good deal. It's got a lot of features in it that are very simple and intuitive. So because I'm not, you know, a really skilled technical person when it comes to software and everything, but those are the ones I use. I also use Digicel, Flipbook, and I just go in between all those. So uh, I know a lot of people use Toon Boom, but I don't know that application, so I can't really speak of it. I know it's a popular one.
Super cool.
Super cool. Good. Good. So those are the ones I use. You know, I get a lot of people asking me, you know, why don't you use this one or that one? The reason why I don't use them is because it's just it gets exhausting learning different softwares all the time. And TV Paint was pretty complicated for me to sit there and figure it all out, but I finally got it because at the time everyone was telling me TV Paint's the only one to go with. That's not true. It's whatever works for you. That's the one to go with. The software is not gonna understand that. Software is not going to make you a better animator.
The software is not gonna make you. It's not gonna make me animate like you. Oh, it's too bad.
No, you just want to draw, right, Judy?
Yes.
Just draw.
I have a question. Oh no, I think Christians. I think did I pronounce it right? Christians one is I can't wait to see old school paper rolling process, and also uh, your guy here, no plastic. He said, "Hi, Wayne and Judy. Hi."
How how are you doing on plastic? We have I haven't forgotten about the walk cycle. We're still gonna do
He
that.
said, "Nice to join. Nice to join in. I will pay attention in the line of interest." So yeah,
Oh,
good, good.
cool. Thank you. Cool. Cool. Look at I want to show you guys something here. Look at the eyes that I'm doing the tie down drawing in, and look at the eyes in my rough. You'll notice when I do the tie down, it's much more solidified, the drawing, and it's more a model. Those are the little changes I make when I go to the tie down process. So as you see me draw here, just remember that that's what I do. I'm not worried so much about the putting in that clean line, because that's what the cleanup department, the assistants, do. So I just come in and try to solidify and realize. When I say realize the drawing, it just means finish it off. Make it where it's just more of a finished drawing. But I'm still staying loose. And then we'll come down here. And right here, I'll put a little bit more form into his foot. Comes down there. We'll put a couple little toes right there.
This is like a cleaning up, isn't it?
Uh,
Because you're cleaning.
it's no, because cleaning up is that fine line. This is just
It's still sketchy, but okay, you still
yes.
to refine a little bit more.
Exactly. It's still a little sketchy, and then I'll just put in, I'll just add a little detail. But notice when you do cleanup, you got to make this really, I haven't done it so long, but you got to make these lines all consistent
Yeah.
throughout all the drawings, and that's what the cleanup artists understand. In the studios, the biggest department in the studio system are the cleanup department, because it takes a lot of time to be able to clean all the drawings up where they look consistent with the lines and the volume somewhat, not really see, that is the job, as far as I'm concerned, that is the job of the animators, to she or he has to make sure that the volumes are consistent. You can't rely on the assistant to do that. It's not their job. Their job is to just give it that final look and design that comes in with the model sheet. And they got to make sure they do keep it on model, but they got to make sure it stays consistent. So there we go. Let me get rid of this. Right there. That would be my tie down. And I'll draw through. I don't know. I'm being a little precious here, I'll say, when I'm drawing this. But right there, that's enough information for me to hand it off to the cleanup department. And you'll notice the difference there. Let me turn that up a little bit. You can see the difference there. It's just it's not a big change, because I'm still following the attitude and the acting of it. I just got it placed in there where it's, more in drawing. Okay. So then what we do is we're going to find our next important drawing, and it's going to be the anticipation, and that's the important drawing. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to make that a key. And what I would do is, if I'm doing it on paper, I do the exact same thing. So I'm just going to go back and forth between those drawings, and this is where I gotta come in and tie it down where it will correspond with my first drawing I did there on this drawing. So this is where I'm going to come in And here I'll get a little bit looser because I'm going back and forth to see all the shapes and volumes. And remember, you guys always remember that it's everybody draws a little differently. You don't have to, you just want to be consistent within your drawing. Eyeline.
I like the texture of this pencil.
Yeah, this I like this one too. I I went through a lot of different I went through a lot of different pencils and redid it, but I tell you, you know what? This is pretty much the standard pencil. I just made it where it's got a, it feels. Look, I had done for years. Most of my years in the business was working on paper, so I wanted something that was felt like the pencils I was used to. So I'll come down here and then I'm going to move that nose over. The placement of where I had put the nose on that rough right there, that ghost drawing, let me come in where everyone can see it better. You can see I placed it over there. Well, now I'm going to give it more dimension and I'm bringing out the muzzle. That's right there. I know it's there. And if I want to, I can sketch that in. I'm not doing a cleanup drawing, but then it's going to come down there. I'm going to move the mouth over just a little bit. And I flip back and forth. And then the eyes are closed on this one. And this one I'm going to put more in drawing because he's turning in space. So it's a little more dimensional. And that's the important thing, is me flipping it back and forth like so. Now I'm putting a little drag on the hairs right there.
Wayne, somebody asked you, and I'm sorry if I get it wrong. And Sharma, she said, can you add the stream as a different playlist? Being from India, I missed out on this. I guess she or he, I don't know, that person is talking about different time because it said different playlists. I guess it's a different time because she or he said that is um, missing out on this. I would like if that person write again and explain what he or she means by this.
That's
Because
a good
I don't understand.
idea. I don't quite understand what she's talking about there. I had Judy. I had tried the Premiere. You and I will go over that later. I think.
Uh,
Remember
yeah,
Premiere?
premiere, yeah.
Is that maybe what she's talking about? Like,
I don't know.
okay,
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess talking about the time maybe, but at the same time, it's talking about playlists, different playlists.
different
I don't know exactly.
playlists.
Yeah.
Uh, not.
I was gonna say it's about the time because I don't know what time in India would be right now.
Oh, is she saying can we do it at a? Oh, I don't know if we could do that. Do it at a different time.
It said like a playlist for just live stream. A playlist just for live stream. That's what it
Oh,
said.
oh, I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, we can
That's
do.
what Philip is just rewrote that.
Oh, okay. Well, uh, we can do that, can't we?
Oh
Judy's.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And also Rajesh is a highway. Somebody said.
Roger.
I don't know.
Oh,
It's
Raj is. Hey, Raj.
yeah.
I know who it is. Hello, buddy.
Okay, okay.
Hello, buddy. I know who that is. Okay. Let me there.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people from India here. Maybe we have to check also just in case we have to check the time to see
Oh,
what
okay, all
time
right.
what time is good for USA, what time is good also for them.
Okay.
But anyway, as long as they say they're talking about playlist, just to include that, just a playlist for live stream.
I see. Okay. All right. Uh, we can do.
Oh, that person says he's an Instagram friend. Do you remember? The one
Yes.
that say hello to you.
Y-
Oh, okay.
yes. I know he is. He's one of my buddies on Instagram.
Okay. Cool. I would like to know if everybody can write down what for what country they coming from or they are. If they can, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna write down. I'm from Dominican Republic.
Why is sorry, Judy? Oh, that's why I couldn't figure out something. Oh, they were asking where you were from, honey? Or
No. I'm asking them.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. And guys, just notice I'm just putting in.
Somebody from Christians from Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. Okay, USA.
Oh, okay. Hello.
From Nigeria.
From where?
From Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria.
Yeah, somebody's from Nigeria.
Okay.
Artimation is from Nigeria.
Okay. Welcome. Now you see, guys. So I'm putting in those little subtleties of stretch, coming down there, and I'm still staying loose. Show that other arm, and then I'll turn this off, and I'll just take a look at it. I'm gonna bring this out. I'm not erasing. I'm just gonna try to keep consistent with that volume. And there we got it where it's got more information, and I would just hand it off like that. That would be good enough. And again, if we look at that to this drawing, we can see the big difference. Back to that right there. And then I just proceed with those main poses that I'm gonna do, and I get those done, and I'll just keep going here. There. And there's a good one. That's a good one. So we can see how rough this is. This is very rough. And let me see. Okay, so now I'm working down into there. And look, you guys, usually there's a model sheet. Oh, there's always, not usually, there's always a model sheet that you have that you go by before you get familiar with the character like we talked about last time. You get a little familiar with the character, or really familiar with the character. I shouldn't say a little. And you know the character. You've drawn the character a lot, and you're familiar. This character, he's just sort of generic, so I just made him up as he goes forward, as I go forward here. But first thing I'm doing is I want to get the volumes correct.
I have a question, Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
But first, let me tell you that Andrew Sharp is for you, Canada. I mean, up near Alaska, he said, we still have a lot of snows.
Mm, really, really. I've never been. Have you ever been to Alaska, Judy?
Never.
Me
I
neither.
wish. I wish.
I hear it's just incredible how beautiful it is there.
And at the same time, here, this is Andrew. He asked, "Hello, Wayne. I noticed that you put down a couple of strokes, almost ghosting the first line. It is just to help with the form and keep away from the bent wire look,
Keep away from the what?
from the bent wire look."
Oh, yes. Look, yes. I put down. I'm feeling the drawing out. When I go in and I put these gestural light lines in there, I'm feeling the shape and the form as I'm going through it. And this is my process. I think of the shape first, especially when I'm doing the rough pass, my initial rough animation. I'm more shape oriented. I think about that. But then when I come in here, I'm still thinking about the shape, but I start to put in the forms in there and I start to line them up. Here we're starting a down shot. We're looking at the top of his head. That's what this little dot is indicating. The top of the head right there. So it helps me to find the landmarks of what is going on with the character as the character is turning in space. I hope that makes sense. So, and what I mean by that is that when you're doing all these tie down drawings, you're realizing the drawing, and as you're moving forward, you don't want to get too bogged down to where you're spending, matters how complicated the design is, but you're spending 3 hours on one drawing. You want to be so familiar with the drawing that you understand the way that the drawing, the character, the proportions, and everything, how that character will turn in space with the simple shapes and forms. You try to break down if you're hired on to do a new character. I remember when I got hired on to Klasky Shupo and we were working on the Rugrats movie. It took me a while to get used to drawing those characters. Then what I finally realized, all I had to do was break them down into their simplest shapes, and then it became much easier. So I hope that helps out of what I'm talking about.
He says, "Thank you. I think I am rushing the rough pass with just one line. This would help a lot." That's Andrew.
Yes, I in your first pass, if you got a character, let's say it's a character that's more of a design like this, something like that, and you're able to put in that shorthand of the character like so, that's fine. We'll just say this character is just saying something like so, and you're able to do that, and you're able to read your roughs. So when you go back to do this tie down phase like that, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. Whatever your shorthand is to describe the acting and the action, the motion, and really study those 12 principles. We have Judy and I have all the 12 principles that we've made videos on. So check them all out. You guys go through. I've had people contact us and say, can you do one on, let's say, follow through overlap? We have all those 12 principles out there for you guys to check out and hopefully it will help you to understand it. I also,
It's a whole playlist for Twilight
yes,
Princess.
a whole playlist. We got them all out there, so just make sure to check it out. So let's say we got this character, and here he is. That's my rough pass. You can see how simply I put it down. I'm not saying it's simple. It's years of drawing. Just keep drawing, draw, 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 keep drawing. And you keep doing it, and it's just a matter of time. Your drawing will improve, improve, improve. But you do have to put the miles of putting, they call it pencil miles. You gotta put in the pencil miles on. It doesn't matter if you do it digitally on a sketchbook. I work on paper, I work digitally. uh, it just doesn't matter. Even if it's on a notebook pad, don't worry about it. Just draw. If you're on the phone, draw a square, draw a box, draw anything. Just keep your hand busy drawing all the time, and it's going to, man. I think it's the best improvement you could do. It's just drawing a lot. I remember when my teacher was Glenn Vilpu. He was my figure drawing teacher, and I asked him when I was first at school. I said, "Well, what do I draw? I didn't know. Like, where do I draw?" And he looked at me and he said, "Wayne, you draw everything." So I understood when he said that. I ended up drawing everything I saw around me. I would see a push pin, and I would try to figure out what is that push pin. I know it's nothing revolutionary to draw, but there's a push pin. I would draw that and just draw everything that you see around you, and it's dealing with the same aspects. You're dealing with shapes and forms. So if you're drawing a push pin or you're drawing the figure, you're dealing with the same things. Now, the figure, why everyone always pushes figure drawing so much is because everybody in the world is familiar with other human beings. And even the layman who doesn't really, they can't draw, but if they see a drawing that looks off, they'll be able to detect it, and they'll know that something's off. They can't tell you why. And that's why drawing the figure, everyone's always pushing drawing the figure. For character animation, draw the figure, draw animals, and do long studies and do short, quick poses. A lot of quick poses. Quick poses are really important for hand drawn character animation. The reason why is because we want to be able to get the drawings down quickly and not have to labor over it. And the best way to practice, if you're going, you go anywhere out to the market, uh, to the doctor's office, you draw people sitting in chairs, you draw people walking around in the park, and do quick sketches. It can be this quick of someone. You can exaggerate it like so. And if you just put in a drawing like that, there, you did a quick sketch. You want to do a lot of these type of drawings. And then if you got more time, you can put in a little bit of personality into it. And if you got more time, you can start to break it down more and start to tie it down more. But just draw, draw, draw.
Like you said, draw.
Okay, so let me get back to our little chipmunk character here. I don't know why I'm erasing that. And see, I'm just coming in here, roughing it in. I'm following. I'm gonna change that tail. I changed that tail. I'm gonna have it changing the shape, going that way instead of what I had on my roughs. I will find little changes to make. Any other questions, Wayne?
No, not so far.
Okay.
Let's see. We have no, just a comment.
Okay.
Capra Corn 2006. Okay, Corn 2000. Yeah, 2006. He said, "This is great. This is the real animation. Love this. Thank you very much."
Thank you very much. Okay, we're coming down there. I know the ear is going to be locked up somewhere around there. See, I'm not erasing the construction lines. Not worried about that. I'm going to bring that ear over around here. And then this ear is coming forward. Now, because the momentum of our little chipmunk coming forward like that, there's going to be a little bit of drag on the ears. And you can see where I'm using the ghost drawing, that drawing, I'm using that as reference. But on this one, I'm getting my volumes more in control and making my little changes like so.
I have another question from your Instagram friend, Rajesh.
Rajesh,
Right.
yeah.
Rajesh, yeah. He said, "Hey Wayne, have you done thumbnail? I'm planning for this shot, or just doing directly?"
No.
Wait.
Oh,
And
sorry.
can you give some tips on doing animation without taking reference? I can't think anything without reference.
I think reference is great.
Yeah, I say so too.
Yeah. Yes, I am doing this scene off the cuff. I'm doing it. I just made it up as we went along, but I will always do thumbnails when I'm working on a scene, in a studio or something. Even most of my scenes. This one, I just happened to do it just off the cuff, which means I just did it on the spot. Uh, Use reference. Reference is great. Everybody uses reference, especially let's say if you got to draw, a quad animal. Um, be honest with you, quads are very hard for me. I haven't done that much of them. So on something like that, I would definitely do reference. It was just like I'd said last time. Someone asked me if I worked with Aaron Blaze. I don't believe we ever worked on a project together, but I didn't. Horses are really hard for me to draw. I bought his horse course.
Horse.
I'm a poet and I should stow it. And so anyway, I bought it and that I used what he taught about the anatomy of the horse, and I was suddenly able to do it. I would after that I'd pull up reference from the internet of horses, and I would try to apply everything that I'd learned from his course. I would have to have reference on a horse. The human figure, I'm just more familiar with. That's what I've been drawing more, so I can do the human figure out of my head more so. But even on the human figure, I do, I, pull up the difference. What is it called, Judy? The Coco?
I think a Proco.
Pro, the one anyway. It's live models, and
Yeah.
they change all these different poses. There's other reference, and I draw from those actual figure drawing classes that they put out there. You can't do enough of that. It just keeps you tuned up. I can always tell if I haven't been drawing. Sometimes I'll get busy with, uh, other things in life, and then I go back to draw, and it's like, ooh, I'm rusty, and it's just like playing a sport. You gotta stay tuned up and practice and practice. Hope that answers it, Raja. Okay, so let's say comes down there. And here I'm starting to flush it out. I'll go to the next one. And you can see this is more tied down. That would be one I could hand off. Right there.
I like sketchy drawings.
Me too. Judy and I,
So cool.
we like the more sketchy way of drawing. It has more life into it.
Hmm.
That's why I rarely ever put anything cleaned up when I post any of my animation.
But up to that level, right?
Yeah, usually around.
I like up to that level.
Yeah, about this level. Me too. I think
Yeah.
it just keeps its life. And turn that down a little bit. Anyway, let me keep moving on here before time runs out. Okay, so then we go there. And I'm gonna make this one the next drawing. Try to get that volume in there. And sometimes, you guys, I'll have to struggle with a particular drawing, and it will take me longer. But I'll keep at it until it's working. I got enough information in there. And you can see here, I'm just putting down the shape. I'll put in an oval there to show the shoulder. Now this is a much more, it's not real cartoony, but it's a cartoony type of design. So I can get away with more. It's not like drawing something, like from the Prince of Egypt. Those characters, you would have to put in a lot more drawing. That would just be the way it is. Notice how I flipped that tail up there. I pushed it. I went, there's the tail right here, right there, and then on my tie down, I pushed it just to give it a little more life. this box, I'm gonna realize more.
When you decided that what you wanted to do is you want to make to be an animator? When did you decide? When you were 100% sure that that's what exactly what you wanted to do?
Um, when I was 20 years old is
Well, your
when.
parents said no.
But I always wanted to be an animator ever since I was a kid. When I was like 8 years old, I bought the Preston Blair book and I was just intrigued. So it wasn't like, but it was when I was 20 when I said, I got to be serious about this. Either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. But trust me, I studied that Preston Blair book. I had this book. Let me show you this guy. You guys, this book here. My my parents, when I think I was about 10 years old, my parents bought me this book, and it was brand new, much better condition than it is now. And I read that book over and over. It's not really too good a book to learn animation. It was more of a promotional book, I feel like, for Sleeping Beauty. But I would sit there and study it when I was a kid. I couldn't understand it. Animation. The thing is, you guys, animation is a complicated art form. I'm not gonna, try to say, oh, look, it's easy. You just do this, do that. It's really, it isn't. But it's very satisfying. So, and what
Mm-hmm.
I had learned when I was in my 20s, I had a teacher, and he gave me the concept of working rough, like those first roughs. That was first time I had learned about that, and then the illusion of life came out. But when I was a kid and I was trying to read these books and try to understand it, really didn't explain it much. As far as I thought there was this formula to animation. There's the principles of animation, but all animators work a little different. Some work really pose to pose most of the time. That's what I do most of the time. But some work straight ahead. Whatever works for you, that's what you gotta. That's the work you gotta put in to find out what method, what workflow will work for you, and it won't take that long. The most important thing is just to get it to where uh, you just can draw better and better, and that will be the point where just drawing just makes hand drawn animation. If you could draw, the better you could draw, it just makes it easier to
Yeah.
to do it. So anyway, I was interested in animation ever since I was like as far when I was a little kid. My punishment when I was a kid, if I did something wrong,
Don't Joe for a week.
I couldn't no I couldn't watch Felix the cat. That was I was really into Felix, and then I went through the Peanuts. I really liked Peanuts a lot, but if I had that was just my punishment. My parents knew that would really get to me, so
I always drew. I always like it. There was no time, even though I was doing different stuff, different things, starting different career. But I always drew. Always
you always
since I
draw.
remember.
You always. That's why Judy and I get pals.
Yeah.
She would draw and follow. She follows through. Judy is more
Yeah,
obsessed.
but at the end I started computer science, even though you know.
Yeah.
Even though it's good, I mean, it's good for me because I can now mix technology with art. I can do 3D. I can also draw and do theater art,
We,
theater arts. So
plus you
it's
plus you understand every software out there.
No, it was so but you make it easy. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can understand it. I was. I can't. That's
Wait,
nothing.
I have a question.
Uh huh.
Oh, that's not a question. It's a Christian's one. It's a Wayne.
Eh?
You should put out a book of your work. You see, that's exactly what I told you. Remember,
Yes.
I told you that you should
I.
have a book.
Judy. Judy keeps telling me. Thank you. Really?
Christian's one.
You think I should?
Christian.
All right, Judy. No, I don't know. There's so many books out there. There's so many books on.
But it doesn't matter. There's so many animated too. There's so many of doctors. There's so many of everything in this world. So that doesn't
That's
stop you from
that,
doing what you want to do.
that's true, Judy. But do we have the time?
Yes, we
Oh
will.
man, I knew she was gonna say that. Okay, I we will one day. One day we will.
One day, one day.
One day we will. Okay, now we'll take a look here, and let me turn off this level, and I'm gonna scroll through. I'm gonna see what I don't like. Turn that power down. I can see drawing problems within here, and this just my process. I'll look at it and think, it looks. I use a word called wonky. It looks out of drawing. So
Mm.
I'm gonna come in and fix it. And now I'm solidifying it a little bit more. And I'm gonna bring that nose up just slightly there. And I'm gonna simple. I'm trying to stay simple in the drawing.
You have a hello Wayne from Animator.
Hello, buddy. that's that's Tefik, Judy. That's
Okay,
he's
okay.
he's the young lad that I teach for
Hello, hello, hello,
the
Animator. Hello, say hello
the
to them.
student. Tefik, say hello to Judy.
Yeah, he did. He
Oh, he
said,
did.
he
Okay.
said. Is he the one? Is he the one? Your student, the one who did the this animation with
uh,
uh, the last one. Remember the
yes.
last one that we?
Yes.
Wow, that was really cool. Remember that I told you? Wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
I know.
Wow,
I know. No, Tefik's a talent.
it's really cool. Wow, how long
Uh,
you guys have been together?
Tefik, can you answer that one better than me? I can't.
I remember.
I can't. I think Tefik. I think we're going on maybe a year or 9 months.
Oh,
I can't remember, man. Don't get old, everybody. It really sucks. uh, he's young blood. Tefik, if you could answer that one, I'd be much appreciated. Because I'd be curious too. That's a good question. And everybody, Tefik's been with me. I'm not teaching as much one on one because of time.
yeah.
Judy and I are really trying to, we're working really hard to try to get it to where we can get to more people. And and we also want to, Judy is exceptional at with her drawing and pastels and her artwork, and we're trying
I
to.
don't do pastel anymore. I don't do for a
Uh, well,
long
well,
time.
well. I tell you what, Judy. I'll make the book if you start doing your pastels again.
No, 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 no. No. I have my channel just pastel. I just haven't uploaded for maybe 7 years or something.
well,
Since I started animation and video, I just haven't done.
well, that's what we got to do. We got to get that channel back
Come
up.
on, how you gonna tell me to go back to the pastel? I mean, faster in school is drawing is cool in general, but yeah, it's so messy. I'm so lazy to go and clean up after.
uh, Judy, one thing I would say about you is you are not lazy. That's, that's why I teamed up with you. If you,
Fred said that he has 10 months with you.
oh, is it 10 months? I was close.
ten
I'm
months.
pretty proud of myself.
You were very close.
I was very close. Judy, you gotta be proud of me on that one. Thank you.
I have a question. Where from Kepra, Quantum, 2006.
Uh
He
huh.
said this. Oh, okay. He said, it's not a question. It's just he said that I like the raw animation too. I also like using Wacom heartfelt tip needs. They have a kind of drag on them, like a real pencil, not sleek as the regular plastic nibs.
You know that is. I gotta tell you that's a really interesting subject there. When I first
Mhm.
got onto, I had the iPad first, and when I first got on it, it was like drawing on oil. I was like, oh, that's horrible. It was so slick. And I didn't, and then I got the Cintiq, and the same thing, except the Cintiq has a little bit of bite to it. And when I got onto it, I got so used to the slick that I made this transformation from where I like the texture, and now I like it slick gliding over it. And I do go back and forth. Right now I got that plastic one, the one that doesn't have texture, and it does let me just sort of glide over it. And it was just a matter for me of getting used to it. And then but I will go from this one to, I think it's like a mesh paper tip, and that gives you a little more texture into it. But I go back and forth. I just always like to change it up. But I know what you mean when I first got on that iPad and that glass. I was like, I went and bought a film that went over it to that supposedly gave it more texture like paper, and it did, except it made the pencil less sensitive. So I've gotten used to this, but I do understand what you mean with the just the texture when you go from paper. Like when I go back to paper, I've been using more of Bond, very smooth paper, Bond smooth when I go back to it. And I got a stack of animation paper that I'm going to when I start doing the streams on the. Come on, Wayne, you're drawing. It's sometimes hard to draw and talk. So there we go, you guys. So right there, we got what I would call the keys and the breakdowns for this little section, and I would hand this off to the assistant. Now, what I would also do the rest of the drawings. So let's proceed with that. I'm gonna come up here. There's this. Line that up.
While you keep drawing, I can tell you that no plastic say. He says, I found it hard transitioning from one action to another, as in walk in into run, for example, a smooth shift of action.
From like if you go
Like from one pose to another, he found it hard to transition from one action to another, as in walk into run, walk into
oh, a
run,
walk
for
in.
example.
Okay, I understand that question.
Mhm.
You know what? Then what to do is to first of all go to some reference, try to find something that shows You know, someone, you can find everything on the internet these days. Try to find that, but if you're not able to find that reference, that would be an area, yes, where I think that I would animate straight ahead. Because in that, it's not an acting pose, it's an action pose. So if the character is just walking and then goes into a run, I would just flip the drawing or scroll through the drawings and animate that straight ahead. And try to keep your volumes as consistent as possible. But if you go off a little bit with your volumes, you can always go back in. It's more work and get the volumes in place, but you follow those loose gestural drawings of a character going from a walk, which would be, let's say the character is going screen left that way, and character is just walking. I'll do more of a subtle type of walk. Is walking, oops, darken that up, is walking that way, and we're not going to have so much arm movement. Arms are always opposite. We'll just have that one there. That there. And then you know that you're going to go from, you gotta make your animation work from this pose to a pose that is going to be, I don't know how much of a run you want. It matters. You could just have where the hands are just out and the character is running like so, and there's the line of action, here's the line of action now, and the character is going to be running like so. Let's just use that as a pose. Here's our gesture drawing, and there's the character is running there. And you know that you're going to be going from this walk into a run like that, or whatever run you decide to go with. I would have those two poses, and then as the character is walking, I would act it out physically myself to feel it within my own body, and the character is walking, and then there'd be an anticipation before the character would go into this run. And that is just a matter of scrolling through and feeling that action. Again, this is why thumbnails are so important. If I do this off the cuff, like I did with this little chipmunk character, I'm kind of wandering around in the dark. I've just been animating for so many years, I can do those basic poses. But on something like that, I would definitely thumbnail it out. Let me show you guys something. Sorry, I'm blocking this. How's it looking, Judy? Am I blocking everything?
I think so.
Okay, all right. Let me just come back here. If you guys can see, these are thumbnails I did of this little character, Honeybee. And it's hard to see him there. I'm going to zoom in.
You have to look at the circle. Are you looking at the circle where you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm coming in close. Look at these little thumbnails I did as Honeybee is just spinning and turning in space. And those are the little thumbnails right there. And I did that before I animated the scene. All I used was a ball for her head and very simplified everything else, her legs, arms. And I did all of those. And then when I went to do the demonstration, the video, it's on our YouTube channel, when I was animating it and demonstrating it, I had my thumbnails right up there. So I knew where I was going. It wasn't like I was wandering around in a dark house without any lights. I knew where I was going. So I knew I was going to follow those thumbnails relatively close. If I made some changes, that's fine. It's fine. If it works better with something you come up with, but you don't want to wander off too much from those thumbnails, because if you do that, you're changing the whole scene. So you want to be happy with your thumbnails. So getting back to this sort of action, this transition of a walk to a run, let me come in there. Back there. Uh-oh. Hold on. I accidentally. I can't believe what I just did. I did something here. I moved his eye. Sorry about that, everyone. I'll get back to that. Apply. Let me go back here. Move these. Move these.
Let me check. I think I just what was that last person? I think it was no plastic. Oh yeah, I just answered. And oh wait, Chris sends one. He said, "I was your student for about a year." Wow, that's even longer.
That what? What happened, honey?
Chris sends one.
Yeah.
That person said, "I was your student for about a year."
Chris?
Hello.
I'm there. No, I'm there. I'm trying. Well,
Are you here?
yeah. No, I'm here. I'm trying to remember Christian one. I don't remember Chris.
Maybe because maybe they're using another name.
There must be. Is it Chris? You mean Chris?
Well, Chris, yeah, Chris, but it's just Chris sense altogether. One. But probably it's Chris, I guess.
Oh, if it's Chris, I remember Chris. Yeah.
Okay. You almost remember because 1 year.
I do remember Chris. But I don't remember Christian.
No, it's not Christian. It's Christian, but yeah, Chris, I guess.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think. Yes, I remember.
You remember Chris?
I remember Chris. Of course, I remember Chris. Definitely, I remember Chris. I hope you're doing well, Chris. I haven't talked to you in a long time. Is it Chris who lives?
Yeah. He's a Chris. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He lives Ohio.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I was feeling like, wow, man, I'm not getting that bad. Hello, Chris. I hope you're doing good, buddy. I hope things have settled down in your state there. Okay, let's say we got this character. I finally got it set up. So we got this character. If he's walking along there, we got him walking along. This is already indicating, telling us this is the walk part of it. We'll do a walk cycle later. Don't worry, no plastic. We're gonna definitely do that. But if he's walking along and goes into a run, in my thumbnails, I'm thinking I'm not trying to make him line up where it's all pretty and everything. If he goes into a run, what kind of anticipation would I create as he goes, before he goes into the run? And you notice I'm just using the line of action to try to figure out what kind of anticipation I'll use. And then the head's down like this. Don't like the placement. And see, this is where I do all of my thinking right there. Maybe I'll just have the hands right there. not worry so much about silhouette. And I'll keep working on this. Now, I want you to understand, I'm not done with the thumbnails. I'll look at that thumbnail and think, okay, it's getting closer, but maybe I'd want it to be a little bit more extreme. Remember this, you guys, when you're animating, push past the point of where you think it should be, especially in the beginning when you're starting out. Go past that point. That was something in The Illusion of Life. I'd read that, and they really emphasized that for beginners, always go past the point, because what we're doing is caricaturing movement. So then you can see where I pushed it there, comes down, that would be him walking, anticipation. He would come out of that on a jump as he's coming out. And just little quick thumbnails. You don't want to get too caught up in trying to, do these beautiful drawings. That's not the point of thumbnails. It's the point is that I can look at this, and visually look at it in sequence and see if it looks like it's working. And whatever is not working, I will keep working on my thumbnails, because I'm doing these loose little, quick sketches. I don't have that much time invested in it. And once I'm satisfied with the movement or the acting, it's different. This is a action scene right here. But if it's acting, it's the exact same thing. You just want to, show the characters' facial expressions. You can do those very simple. Let's say it's this little character, he's acting, and I'm just doing thumbnails, and he looks off like this, but he's looking like, he's a little like, I don't know about that. Has it look like this? I'll do him that's simple. And then he goes from there, and then he's looks down as he's saying, I don't know if I agree with what you just said. He's just sort of listening right there, just listening to him. And then he comes down here, up there, and right in here. Not worried about the mouth shapes right now. I'm just thinking about the acting. And the shoulders might come up. And down here I'll write, I don't know. And then the next pose would be him looking back at the character. I'm going to make it small up here, with a different head tilt, maybe, because that's what makes it interesting, is the change of shape and head tilts. If I agree. And then hands, we could have the hands out like so. And then down, if I, sorry, running out of room, agree. And I would go 1, 2, 3. And I would look at it with the dialogue and those key poses. I'll see if the acting is working correctly within the scene and what is being asked of the scene. Man, I hope that makes sense. I know that this is kind of jumbled up here. What do you think, Judy? Was that make clear?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay.
Don't worry, if they don't understand, they're gonna
Okay.
drop some
Okay.
comments. I have a question. No, I keep saying a question, but not necessarily a question.
Okay.
Some comments. Capricorn 2006. That he said before. Remember that he said before I like the rough animation.
Uh-huh.
I like the rough animation too. I also like using the Wacom heartfelt tip nibs. Remember that? So
Oh yeah.
he also said that yes, the mesh paper tip, it is a fibrous nib. Those are the ones they call felt tip nibs.
Yeah, are they gray? I think I have those. Here is
Oh,
that
yeah, I know.
is that it?
Is that one? Because
The,
I have those.
I have those. I use these and I use those standard.
I like the other one better.
You like the other one? Most people do. I've just gotten in the habit of maybe I'll switch back. I'll give it a shot again.
But because it's a little bit like it's not like it's so soft, like a plastic almost, you know?
Yeah, no, the plastic has. I agree 100%. It definitely is slicker with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
plastic one, like the one I'm
yeah,
using
slicker,
now.
yeah.
I had just gotten used to it, and I didn't think I would ever get used to it, but I did get used to it. Let me just for the fun of it. Let's see here. I'm gonna give it a shot. See if I even notice a big difference. Yeah, well, that feels pretty good. I haven't done it so long. I don't think I've used it with TV Paint. All right, I'm gonna continue on with this, and let's see. It definitely has a feel of paper more so. Okay, so now let's before time runs out here. So the question will be to me is what are we gonna do? That does feel pretty good. The question is going to be how to put in this in between right there. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to quickly let me select that. I'm going to quickly come in here, do a quick little rough of that drawing. I know that I'm working out of this one. It's definitely favoring the first drawing. But the important thing is that I first did those keys and the breakdown for this little section. And I'm scrolling through, flip those drawings. I remember reading The Illusion of Life that Wooly Reitherman would flip his drawings so much that by the time they got to the assistant, they were like old dollar bills. They were so wrinkled up from him flipping so much. Because now there's an animator, from what I understand. Never met the man, but I understand that he animated straight ahead, and he was more. He ended up directing some of their films at the end there, but he was known more for like doing action animation. Although he could do the acting and all that. So now I'm flipping, coming in here, laying in those big shapes. There. Go in there, then I'll turn this off, turn that on.
Sorry, I have another question, Wayne.
Uh-huh.
From Ayush Kumar Singh. He said, "Sir, how should I begin?" One second. How should a beginner plot art for anything moving? Should I just draw the arcs on the keyframe or just imagine how the arc should be?
Oh, draw them on the keyframe. Draw them, especially in the beginning. You're going to get used to arcs, but I always watch right here. Good question. I'm going to draw that arc of where that box, the corner of that box right there. I'm going to draw in an arc to show the S arc of this ear coming up. I'll leave them in my tie down drawings. If you notice, draw on your arcs. If it helps you out, that's fine. Remember, at this stage, we are not doing cleanup. We are trying to finesse and hone in on our animation to make it smoother and better. Whatever works for you, draw on the arcs. Some animators can do it without putting in the arcs, but if you notice and you look at the old masters and you look at their pencil tests, you'll see flashes of arcs all throughout the scene. And you don't, more experience you get, you sort of visually know where the arc is, but definitely I recommend the beginning to draw the arcs in there to help you do everything. Just like here, this corner here of the box is coming down to there. Why wouldn't I just draw an arc just to make sure I got the landmark of it, finding it right there? Because I put that arc in, there's no way I'm going to miss. It's definitely going to be mathematically right there. I'm going to hit the spot that I'm looking for. So I think that's a good question for the beginning. I'm just going to start putting them in there so you can see. There's the arc for the tail. I'm going to favor that tail down there. Register that foot. Always register whenever you got a element that is being held in an area. Take your time, make sure that you keep it there. Nothing worse than seeing the feet starting to slide or anything that's supposed to be held, seeing it moving when it's not supposed to be. And here I'm going to now focus on getting these eyes as they're closing. And eyes, do take your time a little bit more with the eyes because that's where everyone's looking, and you want to make sure that they're not wobbling around even on your tie downs. Put a little more time. Seeing that nose, I made that nose, I'm making it bigger. I didn't really erase it. That's good enough. Making it bigger. I'm going to go through and make the nose bigger on all of them. Or maybe, you know what I'll do is I'll take the easy way out. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay. Things coming up there. I'll fix that real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna continue with some comments here.
Sure.
Your friend Chris, he said that he's doing good.
Oh, good.
Rodrigo Patino says simpler drawings as guide. And who else? Splash Drummond, he said hi.
Hello.
And Soda Pop, he said please test new free open tools. 1.5 just released. I think we're gonna have to just test it, right?
Uh,
I tested a long time ago.
have
Uh,
you? Have you,
yeah,
Judy?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Before.
Test it out.
Not a new one, the new release, but I tested it before. I have used so many programs already, just jumping from one to another.
and I will. Should we? I'll test it out. I'm gonna have Judy help me if because I don't want
Yeah.
to. I don't want to start. If that is, can you do that, Judy? We'll
Oh
test
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's been a
Okay.
long time, yeah.
All right. So right in here, you guys. Notice I took my time. I took my time of making that little subtle head turn there, and now I can see a little bit of fix here. I'm going to make that a little more in perspective where the eyes around that way. And there we go. That feels like it's working. So here I'm putting the drag on, and then I come up there, and there will be another in between that will go in here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. But that is really the process. What I've done here, what I want you to remember is I started there, tying down that one on top of my first rough pass, and then I came over to the antic right there over the antic rough pass, and then I put in this drawing, in between breakdown, just another drawing that's adding into it. I call it a breakdown. And I put in those arcs. Notice the arcs there, especially when you're first starting. You want to make sure that you're following those arcs, because if you see something that's moving fluid like this, I'm sorry, my hand moving like that, if it goes down and then it pops up like that and then it continues down, that will mean, if you see a jitter, that will mean 95% of the time, 100% of the time, you went out of arc.
That happens to me a lot, remember? Before.
Yes.
I went out of arc.
Yeah, and Judy didn't. That's a good example. Judy didn't know that you could draw your arcs in there. Now her animation, she'll draw them in there, and you can erase them later if you want. But that's why in a lot of pencil tests that I post, I'll leave it in there because I'm trying. I want beginners to understand this is, we're not making that finish. This is part of the process. Arcs is one of the main principles of doing
And the
it.
problem with me with the arcs, it's like I was sure, I was thinking that I could follow the arc perfectly without drawing it, because I didn't want to waste time drawing, just usually what I usually obviously we can do create another layer and then just for the arc and do the arc. But I was so lazy, I didn't want to draw any arc. I just want to go, directly to
Uh,
the
yeah, and exactly.
out, yeah.
But if you put in, you got to understand. If you put in the arcs, let's take a look at this real quick here. Is there a blank drive? I'm going to just hold this. There are other in-betweens. But when we look at this quick little, it's going to go by fast. When you look at it, realize that those, it's being held for 4 frames, but realize those are going to be going by very quickly. We don't care if the arcs are in there. It's not going to change the animation itself, because this is now going to go over to cleanup, and that's why it's called cleanup. They're the ones that make everything pretty and the line quality. So even on this, this is another blank. These drawings here, if we look here, 8, 2, that's the one coming up, 4, I'll hold that for 4 just for the sake of this test. And come on. These drawings are not being shot on 2s and 1s. These drawings are on 8s, 4s, 6, and 8s. And even there, doesn't bother me seeing the arcs in there. And once this is all in between, which right now it's easy to in between because we got the keys and the breakdowns working here. So what I can do, should I continue on putting in betweens? I think that would be good. We'll come up there. So at this point, this is the point to where this is drawing 1, 9, 13. Let's get rid of this guy. Come back here. 17. 25. So here we got drawing 1. I'm going to go down. This is my charts. We're going to go to drawing 9 there. And I'm going to hold drawing 1 for 6 frames. So that will mean that I put in this dash, that dash, put a line in there, these loops, and this is going to be drawing 7. What that implies is here's drawing 1, here's drawing 9, drawing 7 is going to favor drawing 1. Then we come up to drawing 9 to drawing 13, and dash, dash, 13 down here. And all this is, don't get too caught up in these charts. It's just a way to organize your way of thinking. He's going to come up there, and just to make it simple, I want to favor it, but I'm going to make it very simple. I'm just going to put that drawing 11 directly in between, just to make it simple for this demonstration. It'll work, but I would have usually put it down here favoring it. So we don't even need that dash right there. 11, 13 to 17, which means we're going 17 there, and it will just be, I would probably put that on 1s, but we'll get to that later. Don't worry about that. Let's just, because we only got enough time for this. So I got drawing 1. Here's drawing 1. It's going to be held for, drawing 1 will be held for 6 exposures. That means frames of film. I'm going to put in a drawing after, and that will be drawing 7. So here we got the drawings. We got it charted out. I come in here. I do make sure to favor it, and there isn't much of a change, but I'm going to favor it to the green drawing, which is drawing 1. I come in there, and at this point I'm really drawing more shapes, but I am going to be aware of the forms. Eyelids just starting to come down. Eyeball. favoring.
Let's see, I'm gonna continue with some comments here.
That's fine, honey. I can.
So the pop is saying, oh, that's about the same comment for the pen. He said the new Wacom Pro pens have different needs. I have both, and I would prefer the new kind that's like a bullet at a tip. Yeah, at a tip. And also no plastic says. I also use the gray felt tip nibs. They're closer to pencil feel. Great to use as no plastic in it.
It
All
feels
right.
it feels pretty good. I'm using it
Yeah.
right now.
Our favorite.
Yeah. No, it does feel good. I actually forgot about them.
Yeah.
I just got so used to, but it
We
feels.
have a, sorry?
Go ahead.
No, we have Mr. Blue. We said, how to keep animation consistent and solid.
Just what I'm doing here. Just what I'm doing. This demonstration that we did in this live stream. I did my very first rough pass, and then I went over it. That's exactly what I'm demonstrating here. I'm going over it, and then I just keep flipping back and forth. I see anything that's off, I will change it. I'll change the volume. But the best, if you notice from our last live stream, I'd started off with key poses in a very rough fashion, and then this is the follow-up live stream of how to tie it down. So if you watch, it's just being conscious of those key poses, keeping them in volume, because all the drawings that's going to be in between those drawings, you already got your guides as far as volumes go. Let's say if you had a shape like this and it comes really big in perspective, coming out towards us in that direction, coming out and getting bigger. Well, we got the drawing, this drawing A, and we'll call this drawing B, and all these drawings that are in between, we got these two drawings that are going to dictate to us what the volumes, how to control the volumes. You can't have, if I have it coming up here, it's getting a little bigger, and all of a sudden it gets small there and gets big, you know you went off. You didn't follow your path of action, to control the volumes. And you do the exact same principle here with your characters. There's truly no difference there. You want to follow your arcs, study those principles. We got all the videos on every principle. Study those principles. And that's how you control your volumes. It truly is. It's the best way. Now, to let you know, when I was first learning animation, I was animating straight ahead, and I would do these scribble drawings, and I would lose volumes here and there. It took me forever to tie them down and keep them on model. It really took me a long time. That is why I wanted to learn how to do the pose to pose. And my story of where that really, I worked with Dale Bear. He was a master animator, one of the best around. I worked with him, and he was helping me understanding more of the pose. And then one time I was over at Disney, I knocked on Eric Goldberg's door because they were laying off everybody, a lot of people, not everybody. And I said, what have I got to lose? So I knocked on his door and I asked him, because he's so fast, he can put out so much footage. And he was totally cool. I knocked on it. He didn't know me, and he let me in his room and gave me about 30 minutes of his time. And he explained to me what his process is, and it was the pose. Not saying it's the only way, but that was the method. That's why I recommend his book. I think his book and the Richard Williams book are really good. But you guys don't think that pose pose is the only way. If you feel more comfortable working straight ahead, by all means. Wooly Reitherman worked straight ahead. I think I heard that Frank Thomas did both, but he did a lot of straight ahead. Everyone's got their own workflow. You got to experiment and try the different methods out for yourself to see what works. But this post pose is the best way. I know how to control the volumes. Hope that answers it. So let me
I
get.
love post to post.
It's just and then people also say with pose to pose they'll say, oh, let me one. I want to make a note here. So we were talking about arcs. Okay, we got this arc on drawing 9. So when I'm doing drawing 11. I don't have to draw the arc in there because drawing 9 is showing me that arc. So when I come to put in this drawing of the box following the arcs, I already got the arc from drawing 9. I already got them in there. So, you don't have to have, if you're worried about having your arcs all over, I wouldn't worry about it all, but you got it to go off of. Now, I am one who usually has the light table on. That's what Dale had taught me. But some people, it gets confused. They don't like the light table on. They think you're drawing line between line. It's whatever works for you. So you can try it with turning the light table off if you want. But for tight in-betweens, I will turn it off when I'm roughing it out. But for tight in-betweens like these, I need it on for me. That way I'm being more consistent. So remember that aspect of it.
I have another question
Okay.
from Rajesh. I'm sorry if I say pronounce it.
Oh, Rajesh? Yeah.
You know it. Okay.
Yeah.
He said how to transform drawing from different layers at a time in 3D Paint. For example, if you draw character on one layer and box on another, and scale resize at the same time. Do you know? Because if you don't know, Capricorn 2006 already give you the answer.
Who does?
Capricorn 2006.
Oh, gives the answer to it? Okay.
Yeah.
Go with that answer.
Faster than us.
Go.
He said, Rajesh, set the transform tool to apply on all layers or apply on selected layers to have the transformation applied to more than one layer at the same time. Do you know that?
No.
Now you learned something.
And Judy knew I didn't know it.
No, it was Capricorn 2006 who answered that.
And say it one more time, Judy. Do what? Because I'd like to know that too.
What is that, sir?
Can you read Capricorn's?
Okay. He said, set the transform tool to apply on all layers, right?
Oh,
You got
okay.
it. So, he said, apply on selected layers to have the transformation apply on more than one layer at the same time. Do you know that?
No, but I'm looking at it
Okay,
now,
good.
and I see
That's applause for
I see what he's saying.
applause for
Thank you.
Capricorn 2006.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're learning here. Okay?
Yes, that's great.
Everybody's learning.
Very good. Very good. Okay, let me go back there because I when I do it, there are times I'm saying I know there's a better TV paint is so complicated. But I know there's a better way I'm sitting there and thinking I know I can select all these and I can do it to all the levels because TV paint is supposed to just give you all these options. Okay, so here we go. There's 7 and there's 9. So there we got 7, 9, and now notice I'm favoring number 1 when I go to. Let me turn this off. Favoring number 11 to number 1, and then it comes up, goes into there, and I will do the one last in between right there. And I'm gonna simply just make that a direct in between just to make it clear.
We're almost running out of time.
I know. I'll do it real quick. That's what I'm always saying, right, dude? I'll do it real quick. But this one, that's why I'm going to do this directly in between simple and what this little demonstration is, everybody, is truly just to show you how to go in, put in your tie downs. Doesn't mean clean up. How to go about it when you're using your keys. And you'll get faster and faster following. I thought that was a good point. We're talking about the arcs. Gonna lose that lip. And one more thing I will mention, I do use the center of where the cross is, the center line and the eye line. I will use that as a guide for to where I judge all the facial features as he's turning in perspective. I'll get into that on another demo. And I'm going to, on this one, I'm going to have the eyes already closed. Just because I know that for me, that's what I like. I like that it just be closed. So he's boom, 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 as he's turning. So there he is turning. Put an arc for that. Here. Put some drag into that. We'll get into that later. I already got my arcs in there. And do try to draw. I do recommend try to draw from, unless they're really tight in betweens, but if you got long strokes, try to put your shoulder into your drawing as you're making the long strokes. Okay. There we go. 13, 17. Now we will see within that small little section, we will see where it's smooth, then it goes back to the poses, it will be choppier. You can see right at the beginning, there he just it's smooth, and if I finished off all the rest of the in-betweens, everything would be smooth and fluid. And this is all done on 2s. You can always do it on 1s if you want it more fluid. My personal taste is 1s and 2s. Fast actions, use 1s. And that's basically that is the process as far as working from your roughs. Just a quick one. Working from the roughs. Oops. Forgot to turn that off. Sorry, Judy. I keep thinking I'd turn it off. It doesn't go off. And there's the first pass of the roughs. And then we created the second pass of the roughs. Right there, and there's the tie downs. Those are basically the tie downs. And that's how you go about it. I would continue on putting all the in-betweens in. So I hope that helps. What do you think, Judy?
Cool.
Cool?
Super cool.
Very good. Okay. And that's it. Thank you. Is there any other questions, Judy?
No, I think it just somebody say Ricardo. Sorry, I cannot pronounce that last name, but
Okay.
anyway, Ricardo, he said thanks.
You are welcome, and thank you, guys. Thank you for joining
Thank you,
us.
everybody. Thank you, guys. You are so super awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining us. We love doing this, and we will make an announcement for our next live stream to let you know. We're gonna be doing what is known as the Rico and Rico show, and that is gonna be with myself. Well, Judy's gonna be hosting it. Myself and Mike Polvani. He's my buddy I've known through animation back in 1983. We met, and it's gonna be more of a talk show, interacting. Any questions you guys want to ask us, and Mike's much more entertaining than I am. so that's it. All right, you guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.